Reports on regional affairs. Tajikistan agreed to buy weapons from Pakistan as the two countries vote to upgrade their strategic cooperation. Pakistan claims that India's inhuman military siege in occupied Jammu and Kashmir has caused $3.5 billion in economic loss to the civilian population, saying the coercive actions of Indian troops is in the disputed territory is violation of UN resolutions. A report by United States government-funded think tank Freedom House regretted India's fall from the ranks of the free nations after the country's status was downgraded to partly free. The report, Trends in International Arms Transfer 2020, says remained the main recipient of Chinese arms and accounted for 38% of Chinese arms exports in 2016 to 20. Although China accused accounted for 61% of Pakistan's arms import in 2011 to 15 and for 74% of imports in 2016 to 20, the country's arm imports decreased by 23% according to the latest reports released by the Stockholm International Peace Research Initiative. Pakistan and India recommitted themselves to the 2003 ceasefire agreement at the line of control and agreed to address the core issues that could undermine the peace and stability. Iran and China signed a 25-year strategic cooperation pact in the latest expansion of Beijing's flagship trillion-dollar Belt and Road Initiative as the US rivals build closer ties. On 27 September 2020, the Indian Parliament enacted three laws: Farmer Produce Trade and Commerce Protection and Facilitation Act 2020, Farmers Empowerment Protection, Assurance of Farm Services Act 2020, and Essential Commodities Amendment Act 2020. The 17th edition of the Multinational Maritime Exercise Aman 2021 formally opened at Pakistan Navy Dockyard with the impressive and colorful flag hoisting ceremony in which flags of 45 participating countries were hoisted simultaneously. Hindus are most likely than Muslims in India to say that 1947 partition was good for Hindu-Muslim relations, reveals a US survey release. After lifting 770 million of its people out of poverty, China is ready to share the experience of its resources with other countries, particularly Pakistan, to fight against destitution across the world. PM Imran Khan, Indian Modi, among other listed as predators of press freedom in RSF report. Pakistan and Uzbekistan agreed to finalize bilateral preferential trade agreement with 3 months to further boosting bilateral trade volumes. Pakistan and Bahrain signed a memorandum of understanding to promote business between two countries by working jointly toward economic growth and greater business harmony. Since being officially launched by Pakistan's President Xi in April 2015, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridors has attracted 25 billion investment into Pakistan's road and port, power plant, and fiber optic cables. The United States wants Pakistan to keep its border with Afghanistan open for Afghan refugees, a demand that could strain already tense relations between the two countries. In 1971, Bangladesh had a bigger population than the Western Wing, with a count of 59.7 million. In 2020, the picture has reversed, with Bangladesh starting at 164.6 million and Pakistan numbering 220 million. Pakistan and Iran have agreed to take measures to expand the annual trade exchange to $5 billion per year by the year 2023. The UN nuclear watchdog IAEA reported that Iran has again boasted its stock of high-enriched uranium just days before talks to resume seeking to revive the 2015 nuclear deal. Facts about South Asia. South Asian population is equivalent to 25% of the total world population. South Asia is the home of three bordering nuclear powers, India, China, and Pakistan, that continue to expand and modernize their arms programs. There are 16.7 million children in child labor in South Asia, according to the conservative estimates. Out of these, 10.3 million are in the age of 5 to 14-year age group. The young 5 to 11-year-old children make up of about 1/5 of all child laborers in South Asia. Substantial variation in child labor estimates exist across South Asian countries. In absolute terms, child labor for the 5 to 17-year age group is highest in India, followed by Bangladesh and Pakistan and Nepal. In relative terms, children in Nepal face the highest risk of being in child labor than elsewhere in South Asia, with over 1/4 of all the 5 to 17-year-old engage in child labor. Despite fast-paced economic growth in some countries, food insecurity still poses a massive problem in South Asia. 295 million people, equivalent to 16.8% of the total world population, are undernourished. On average, 12.6% of the world population, or about one in each 8 people, live in extreme poverty. Sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia have the highest and second highest number of population proportion of the world's extreme poverty, respectively, with 50.7% and 33.4% living in those two regions. Trade among South Asian countries currently totals just $23 billion, far below an estimated value of $67 billion. According to the latest World Air Quality Report 2020, the top 40 most polluted cities in the world, 37 are in South Asia. Air pollution in the region is a health hazard and represents the third highest risk of premature death as compared to the ninth highest cause in Western Europe. South Asian countries are among the most vulnerable globally to the impacts of climate change. Extreme climate-related events, heat waves, storms, floods, fire, and droughts affect more than half of the region's population every year and continue to burden South Asian economies. Cybersecurity facts and statistics. The cybersecurity industry is rapidly growing every day. Although more resources are being deployed to counter cybersecurity, the nature of industry has still a long way to go before we can, as a whole, catch up with these threats. It is important for us to define what is the current information security and cybersecurity industry look like, considering these alarming 15 cybersecurity facts and statistics. Number one, 95% of breached record came from only three industries: government, retail, and technology. The reason isn't necessarily because these industries are less diligent in their protection of customer record. They are just very popular target because of high level of personal identification information contained in their records. There is a hacker attack every 39 seconds. A Clark School study at the University of Maryland is one of the first to quantify the near constant rate of hacker attacks of computers with internet access every 39 seconds on average, affecting 1 in the 3 Americans every year. And the non-secure usernames and passwords we use that give attackers more chance of success. 43% of cyber attacks target small businesses. 64% of the companies have experienced web-based attacks. 62% experience phishing and social engineering attacks. 59% of companies experience malicious codes and botnets, and 51% experience denial of service attacks. Smaller organizations, those with fewer than 500 employees, spend an average of $7 million per incident. Since COVID-19, the US FBI reported a 300% increase in reported cyber crimes. As if a pandemic wasn't scary enough, the hackers leveraged the opportunity to attack vulnerable networks. As office work moved to personal homes as of this summer, they recorded 12,377 COVID-related scams. 9.7 million healthcare records were compromised in September 2020 alone. According to the HIPAA journal, 83 breaches were attributed to hacking IT incidents and 9,662,000 records were exposed to these breaches. Human intelligence and comprehension is the best defense against phishing attacks. According to Coffin's, thwarting phishing attempts come down to the user behavior and understanding the best way to protect your businesses against some of the most common hacking methods. Approximately $6 trillion is expected to be spent globally on cybersecurity by 2021. Most companies take nearly 6 months to detect a data breach, even major ones. Total cost of cybercrime committed globally will reach $6 trillion by 2021. Connected IoT, Internet of Things, devices will reach 75 billion by year 2025. The IoT market is due to reach 31 billion connected devices in this year to 2021, and by 2025 it will be roughly 75 billion IoT devices. Unfiled cybersecurity jobs worldwide is already 4 million. More than 500,000 cybersecurity jobs in the US are unfilled, and postings are up to 74% over the past 5 years. 95% of cybersecurity breaches are due to human error. Cyber criminals and hackers will infiltrate your company through your weakest link, with almost never in the IT department. More than 77% of the organization do not have a cybersecurity incident response plan. Share prices of companies fall 7% on an average after a data breach, the lowest point of occurring up to 14 market days after the breach. Finance and payment companies saw the largest drop in the share performance post breach, according to the report.